All right, good morning. It's not closing in on 10 o'clock on this Thursday, almost the end of July. Good morning to everybody. You see everybody's comments flying in. You can join in on the conversation if you have social media, YouTube X, Twitch even, and of course, Facebook is an option for you guys. All right, so let's dive into it and talk about how we're going to get into the upcoming weekend. First off, let me make sure I say hello. I'm waving meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to, it's Storm Talk today. We're back to that title only because tomorrow is a bit odd. As you guys know, tomorrow's blog is a little different. I don't know if I'm going to have one during the day. Probably not. My shift is a little different tomorrow. And as of now, the game plan is to do the Brian After Dark segment, and that'll be in the evening. Don't know the exact time yet. It may not even be dark when I do it, but in here it will be for me. So that's all that matters. But for you at your window, maybe a different story. But hopefully it's close to getting to a point where there's going to be an interruption to this one. But I think it's displaced by 12 hours to where we can get this in finally coming up tomorrow night. But anyway, we'll worry about that later tomorrow. All right. But today I wanted to at least make sure that we do Storm Talk to give you guys as much of a heads up of where we're at on this system. It's the loop-de-loop, low pressure that stalls, right? Now we're getting some of the high-res data. It's starting to see a bit more of the finer details. We're not quite there yet. In fact, the run coming in now, we'll see some of the features that I still couldn't see when I got here this morning. So we're getting more as the next 12 hours, especially evolve here, and that will kind of set the pacing. But I'll let you know where we stand from what I've saw or witnessed so far this and seen this morning. We'll pass that along. All right, fair enough. Let's dive into it. As always, we like to start off with at least the good news outside, at least a quiet view. And this is certainly quiet there at Kentucky Kingdom. Hurricane Bay hasn't opened yet. Got an hour to go. The kids trying to squeeze it in. Most kids, not Clark County. Greater Clark went back today. I think they were the first district, I believe, that went back. There may have been some that we've missed on the list, but we're a week? Is it a week from today? Is JCPS and Hardin County and I think Trinity. So there's a lot of schools next Thursday. But so this is the final week of the summer season for JCPS. Oh, boy. I say this every time, though. It's like it's weird to me because it was always the first day was the Monday after the Kentucky State Fair ended. So it was the very end of August that you went back to school. The idea you're going back at the beginning of August seems weird. I know you can get out earlier, but I didn't mind that as much personally. I liked having the fair time. And anyway, what I'm talking like I have control of the situation. I have no control of the situation. Just reminiscing. Okay, so currently outside, we're nice and pleasant. Yet again, another comfy morning outside. 75 degrees in Louisville, 73 as you head toward Corden. We made it to 85, I believe, yesterday. And today we'll be close to that, maybe 1 degree above it. Nothing major, but still very comfy outside. Okay, so the game plan today is to, not stare as much at the radar locally because there's not much to look at. It's all about tracking the moisture level that is to our south and southwest that get pushed down the front with this severe weather that we had on Tuesday. And now that it's been pushed all the way down toward the I-10 corridor, now you see the tilt that is happening in the plains. It's no longer like a little happy face here. Now it's becoming a straight up and down wall of moisture. That means, and I use this reference sometimes, I know it sounds kind of odd, but it's kind of like folding the egg. All right, so it's kind of curled in, and now we're going to just fold over into this area of dry weather and fill it back in with quite a bit of humid air. And that process will start tomorrow night and really ramp up as we get into Thursday. Now, as that happens, what is driving this fold is going to be a low pressure that is located across the northern Rockies into Canada. That will push down this belt of moisture and moves in, as we've been talking about. This low is going to move into the Ohio Valley, but then get stuck and stall for about maybe 36 hours. It'll linger for a while. And by the end of the weekend and early next week, it'll move away, but it will be slow to drag its feet. It's like one of those, slow walks in a movie where they walk away slowly, but still look back at their loved one, then walk a little bit more, then look back again, that kind of thing. It'll do that kind of thing for us where it'll keep looking back at us for a while until we finally get a stronger system that'll kick it down the road. But that lingering process is going to allow for some shower storms to be in the forecast for several days in a row. So let's get into where they, well, I mentioned the drop point on this. Now, as this drops in, I'm going to go right into the Storm Prediction Center outlook, which is a marginal already posted for Wave Country. Again, our corridor of I-65 all the way up to Cincinnati. And do I think this is going to get upgraded? I don't know. It's a conditional threat, and you'll see why coming up in a second. But it is a threat that could certainly feature a little bit wider, maybe of a marginal, than it could have a slight that could get drawn in later. I'm thinking if there's going to be a slight risk, my guts on this is probably going to be near 65 and 75, something like that. Eastern side here, Wave Country, but it all depends on the low itself and how it will orient. But timing is going to be something that actually is going to be a little easier to figure out, as you'll see here in a second. So let's get into the HERP or the graph model in-house. Don't pay attention to the temperature. It's been running hot on temps as it usually does. Just pay attention to how the clouds and the storms evolve, because I do think its storyline is being told very well, and I like that. So I like using the model for that very reason. So today, as we mentioned, good. Tonight, no problems. Some high clouds may stream in. That's about it. Now, Friday is going to be our transition day, but Friday daytime, we don't have to worry about the rain yet. Still, the atmosphere is too dry to support any rain during the day. Smidge warmer, yes. Not exactly to 90, but not far from it. And it may start to feel like it a little more because humidity will slowly go up. So again, it's a typical summer day as we head into your Friday, the last day of July. Friday night is when the very edge of the low pressure is going to start to show up on the radar. You'll see it in St. Louis in the afternoon on our regional radars and our newscast. And then here it comes into Friday night. Now, it will struggle a bit to hold together. The leading edge will. A lot of this is going to be ate alive by dry air. Again, not so much as you'll notice at the ground level, but where it counts. If the atmosphere is not dry or primed for rain in all layers where it matters in the atmosphere, then you end up eating away at the rain. And that's exactly what I expect to happen here. So this is going to approach with rain on the radar, but it'll be very blotchy. Some of this will reach the ground, some of it will not. Some will just disintegrate off the radar and nothing to worry about. But a lot of that action of the back and forth, the disintegrating and holding together, that will likely be after sunset. And in many cases, after midnight, that will do this whole game, at least for the leading edge of rain. Now, that will start to change once we get toward daybreak on Saturday, because this is going to be the sacrifice to the weather gods that the system is going to give. It's going to throw out some moisture in advance and say, here, dry air, have fun with this, eat this alive. Now that that's all been done and the atmosphere is able to saturate, that's what will happen as too much virga, what we call the rain, it does not reach the ground. Too much of that will start to saturate the air to where when anything else comes in behind it, it then has a full-on shot of making it to the ground and becoming whatever it wants to be, whether it's snow, rain, or thunderstorms. In this case, it's thunderstorms. And so that means the second spoke is going to arrive not far from daybreak. I would say about an hour or two before sunrise. It will begin to get its act together around Evansville and should arrive right along I-65, right at the point when the sun is coming up. If you are a light sleeper, this is probably going to wake you up. It should be a decent amount of lightning. The wind field is there, but it is aloft. Because it's so early in the day, there's an aversion, so all these storms will have high bases to them, and in other words, elevated. So I'm not on a concern here on severe weather for daybreak on Saturday. But if you love, though, those rainy mornings with that rolling thunder, hopefully not too many of the claps of thunder that shake you out of bed, but maybe some rolling thunder, this is going to be a nice little setup to sleep in on Saturday. So plan accordingly on that. If you want to go take on the town Friday night and party it up, I don't know what you're going to do. And you're like, I'm just going to, stay up late on Friday night because Saturday morning it's going to be raining and thundering and I'm just going to sleep in. There you go. That's your weather for that. Now, here's where things start to change, though. The center of the low is here, at least as of now, around St. Louis. I say that because That's one of the challenges we have with this low being a cutoff low, is that it's not as easy to predict its location, its center, because it's losing its train track. So if we have a train track to follow, that's pretty easy to know where it's going to go from point A to point B. But if it loses the train track, then, well, it's going to have a bit of a mind of its own. It'll wobble a bit. So that is going to be a challenge for us to figure out, because where it's positioned will matter on this second piece I'm about to tell you. Because yes, we get the morning round of rain. As always the case, you get morning showers and storms. We have to worry, will this be enough cloud cover and rain to limit any type of heating and or thunderstorms for the rest of the day? Always an excellent question. And once again, we're facing it. It's a big if. I don't know. But it's one of the factors we'll have to watch for Saturday morning. But let's say it does indeed fall apart and be progressive enough to move off to the east. Well, then we have to watch for the center of the low. Now you really can see the center of it, located at this point not far from Carbondale, Illinois. You can even see the little twist here of the rain showers, little spokes, if you will. And if you look carefully where the red is located, which is why I love that this model displays the cape the way it does, you can see the warm sector, a little bit of a wedge here, right into Illinois, southern Indiana, through Louisville, all the way down to Tennessee. That is what we need to watch for Saturday afternoon. And I'm saying it, I don't have a time period yet, but to give you a broad window, I think 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the window to watch. Because if you look carefully, these cells, they will all be likely individual cells and maybe many supercells that could develop. And anytime you get a low pressure in that kind of position during the max heating of the day, you're going to have a problem with what we call backed winds. And that is where you're going to get a amount of directional shear at the ground all the way up, especially if you get a little bit more of a southeast wind at the ground, whether it's south, southeast, somewhere in that range at the ground level. That's bad. Most of the storms we had recently were more west, was where the wind was coming from. These will be more south and southeast is the direction, because the position of the low being counterclockwise. Well, that's not good, because with the wedge there and a more southeast components, the storms get pulled backwards, or as we refer to, being backed. And that allows for rotation. So we need to watch that for any type of severe that can develop for Saturday afternoon. The problem, again, on timing, we don't know where exactly that will be on the scale of 12 to 7 p.m. That's a broad window for now. And we don't know the exact location of where this little warm sector will be. If the low is a little off, so the low is up here, behind the banner, even way up here into Illinois. Let me redraw this, sorry. It's up here near Tippecanoe County as you head toward West Lafayette. Well, then the warm sector may look a little more like this. Near us, but a little bit more east. So say the low's a little closer to Paducah. Then the warm sector is way down to our south and is an issue for Nashville and not us at all. So where it's positioned will determine where that warm sector will be. And unfortunately, we have to wait. We just got to wait until we get closer. But I can tell you that based on this scenario, it's a classic one to get severe weather. I think the Storm Prediction Center is on the right idea right now with the marginal, but I can tell this is going to go likely to a slight. It's the morning round of rain that will be conditional for any area ahead of the warm sector. That has to clear out of the way. And if it's out of here by 9, 10 o'clock in the morning and you get some sun, yes, Saturday's a day where the sun is bad, then that is enough to heat things up and develop enough fuel for the storm pop. And the graph model indeed does just that. Here it is at 6:30, and it's got a broken line of supercells, really, all the way through central Kentucky. Then they back into Indiana, and then they'll race through. So once they pass on by, then they head off to the east. But then we got to deal with the center of the low, almost like you would with a fading tropical system. We got to deal with the center on Sunday. And if this passes right over us, it will likely give us just clouds and showers. Sometimes you can get an isolated funnel cloud. You don't always get tornado touchdowns out of these, but there is a natural spin these lows have. So as it moves by on Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised if some people do see funnel clouds, maybe hanging in some cases there. Don't get too alarmed by that. There's not a lot of kick there for them to be damaging setups and tornadoes, but some isolated funnels can develop there on Sunday as it scoots by. But what it'll do is it'll keep us at 70s as it moves over us. Saturday's highs will highly depend on that little warm sector, but we could jump in the 80s. There's even a chance the heat index could get in the mid 90s for an hour or two on Saturday. And if you're experiencing that kind of weather and you are in the warm sector and it feels like 95 degrees, the sun is out, and you know that low pressure is over in Illinois heading to you, well, I can almost bet that you're going to be dealing with an active setup in a matter of hours and that kind of ordeal. So it's only Thursday. We'll see how this plays out. It's not an alert day yet because there's so many factors, as I just laid out to you, that are at play, and we're just now able to see some of that finer detail on the modeling that we need to have. And there's more that we need. And if our confidence can get raised on not only position of the low, but the timing of it and where the warm sector will be, then yes, it could get flagged as an alert day. That could happen as early as tomorrow. It may not happen until Saturday morning itself, until we're down to the nitty gritty, right? So something to watch as we head into your Saturday for that potential. Now, here's the graph model indicating all of that in numerical form. So let me show you. I know it's a lot of pretty numbers and pieces of data. And we've been through this before, right? Each column represents whether it's sky condition, temperature, humidity, the wind gust, yada, yada, yada. But notice as you get into Saturday afternoon, which is a little further down here on the list, you get to about 1 to 2 o'clock. There's that jump that it has to push us into the lower 80s, maybe mid 80s at that point. And there's your cape that develops, which is nothing excessive. It's about 1,000, but it is enough. It is enough to develop thunderstorms that will be what we call low top supercells that could certainly develop. So the graph model is on the right idea, but we'll see if the others follow suit on that idea too. Now, here is the CSU map. This will update a little bit later on today. Notice by looking at that, there is no tornado threat indicated, no hail threat as well, but there are hints of the wind just because of the position of the low, and it's placed in different ways. There's multiple lows really in factor, but our main one we're watching, they do allow for at least some wind potential to get pushed into central Kentucky. I got a feeling CSU is going to adjust this even more in the midday run from what I can gather on the data. A lot of the high res is just not coming in, so it'll be interesting to see what it does. Does it change dramatically or not? Meanwhile, when you look at the wind profile in the Euro, this is looking at the atmosphere sideways. So down here's where we are. Up here's where the planes fly. You can see, yep, there is certainly enough wind that gets pulled down toward the surface area to allow for at least some severe weather. As we into Saturday, you can't see the time, sorry, but it's Saturday afternoon, so it matches up well. Nothing after that, nothing before it. It's just that period of Saturday afternoon. But boy, it is very saturated. Top-down saturation as we head into your Saturday. And until that low moves up the east, you can see it starts to decrease the moisture as it moves away. Those blues and purples start to drop in value. The moisture becomes more shallow. But when it's really its tallest and heaviest point, which is roughly going to be, I would say, part of Saturday and Sunday, and maybe even part of Monday, that's where you can get your heaviest of rainfall that can develop. And speaking of that, this is going to be an ever-changing map as well. This is not the entire event. This is only partial outlook here, only through Sunday afternoon. I don't have Monday and Tuesday added on to this, but in general, I think 1 to 2 inches has been a common theme that this is going to have as it arrives here for the weekend. All right. What questions can I get to before I move on to next week's setup? Hey, Stephen. Cruise in the Heartland car show down in E-Town on Saturday. Well, I know, any kind of car show, it's all about, trying to keep everything shined up, everybody walking by. That's what everyone does. You just are constantly cleaning the windows and shining it and make sure that chrome is glistening right. It is going to be a challenge, unfortunately, Stephen, because you'll have the morning rain for short daybreak. You may be able to get them shined up for a few hours around lunch, early afternoon to make everything look pretty, but be aware of those thunderstorms that could develop in the afternoon. So you could get a few hours, Stephen, where you may be able to cruise through there and enjoy the sights. Just be weather aware that during those few hours, it'll be hot and humid for one, and two, there could be storms that could redevelop. But you'll have some breaks there. So it's not all bad news. It's just all about being aware of the setup and knowing what could be coming next. But the steadiest of the rain for the morning hours on Saturday will be at around daybreak. Fair enough. Let's see. Rainfall rate will be about 2 inches per hour Saturday and Sunday, maybe up to about 2.2. Jonathan. So yeah, decent, yet again, decent heavy rainfall rate. They'll at least be moving. That's just that you may get more than one. It's a spiraling effect. So at least there's something to move the downpours along versus fronts that we've had. Fronts that have stalled, you end up with a heavy rain that just doesn't move at all. These at least will be moving, but your rain total forecast is going to be highly dependent on how many you get. If you get just one, you may end up with a good ½ inch of rain, maybe 3/4. If you get more than one, you're going to be looking at over an inch, maybe up to 2. Howdy, Cody. Sorry I'm late. You're just in time. Sean's heading to Myrtle. Well, there you go. Cutting grass today. Yeah, good day to do that. You could do it tomorrow too. But today will be a lower humidity setup, so a little easier to get the grass cut today. If you're able to do that, then let the rain just do its thing. I'm at the Hikes Point area on Saturday during the afternoon because the Toys for Tots car. Oh, another car show. A lot of car shows. Same idea, Jennifer, that I just explained to Stephen, is that the morning hours will be soaking, loud period of thunderstorms, nothing severe, but it will be loud. So everyone's going to be out there cleaning the cars and shining them all up. Once that passes by, and you'll get a few hours where it's sunny and hot and humid, but then you have to be ready for thunderstorms to pop and react to that. And I don't know when that second phase will be just yet. So stay tuned, but at some point in the afternoon, they will pop. Now, you could get lucky and they could pop just east of you, which will put you in the clear for a little longer. But it's one of those things, if you're humid outside, it's probably going to be close to you. There's going to be another weather maker, Nikki said, a wind maker. Not necessarily. The tree damage, I still feel the tree damage was the highest just because of the direction it came from. As I've said several times, storms from the north produce more tree damage than any other direction we get. Northeast is actually a little worse. It's just not a common direction for our trees, so they snap easily. So in this scenario, it would be a common southwest flow of the wind that will be pushing through. So I don't right now see as much wind damage as that kind of scenario, but obviously there could be some. Hey, Crispy. Doesn't show a tornado threat, but SBC. I think CSU, that's what I kind of alluded to. I think CSU is going to catch on. It could be as early as today's midday run. They may add that in. But I think it's because that we can see the scenario that could play out, but the models don't. I mean, the graph's the only one that shows it fairly well. A lot of the others do not yet. They show pieces of it, but we've been down this road before. We know what typically can happen in the scenario. So that's why we are a little bit ahead of the AI in this sense. We know, for once, we know that where this is likely going to trend. And I think the outlook from this SBC being placed shows another sign of that too. It's a very familiar one. It's very similar to a weakened tropical system. The same worries we have with those, almost the same worry we have with this. And it's just basically spinning, anything spinning, whether it's a general low pressure or a former tropical system in the summer season with heat and humidity at play, all the threats come into play. You got to watch. So they're twins in a sense on that idea. Let's see. I wish we could get out of these spring setups already. This is actually, well, it's a mix of spring, but this one has actually a little bit more of a summer vibe to it, and only because of the tropical nature to it, being very similar to a tropical system. It's coming from a different direction. Instead of coming from the ocean, it's coming from Canada. So, I mean, they are a little different, but as far as threats go, this is not uncommon to face this at all. All right, let me get into the long term real quick, and then I'm gonna shake on out of here because I gotta go through some of that data that's really new. You can see how slow it is. Again, it's a slow goodbye, like a rom-com movie. Takes a long time to move out as we get into Sunday, Monday, still around Tuesday. Wednesday, yeah. Okay, by that point, Tuesday into Wednesday looks like the trade-off, only because there's a front that's moving through the Midwest. But notice there's not a lot of thunderstorms in the front because our little friend here, which we probably should name it too if we want to. But anyway, our little friend here is taking so much moisture out of the air. This front's like, I have nothing to work with. So it will be enough, though, of a kick to move it along. And that's key. So it will kick it out of the way and see you later. It moves on by. Now, as we evolve into the end of the week and maybe the first or the second weekend there of August, we may run into a setup of getting back to around 90 or so. The euro is trying to still push us over 100 for high. I don't know. It just has done that. It's odd for it to do that so many times in the summer season. Usually it has really good correction on patterns. It's been really overdoing it. So I'm not buying that, but I think 90, 91, something like that for that second weekend of August does appear to be on the table. And then we'll see when that cool wave that we're hoping arrives for mid-August. And there's still one showing up at the end of August too, when that actually does arrive. We'll talk all about that a bit later. All right, let me get your 10-day. And as we evolve the 10-day, again, we're looking at Saturday being a warmer day over Sunday just because of the sun breaks we could get. If we don't get those sun breaks, we're not going to get to 83. If we get enough sun breaks, we can get up to 88. Yay. Big difference there. Sunday's a wild card day, or Saturday will be a wild card. More confident on Sunday being a 70s kind of day. Light rain, 70s, good sleep-in nap weather there on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday could carry some active weather in terms of some pulse strong storms, but nothing too wild. We'll get more sun breaks mixed in. Most of that's going to be afternoon rain on each day, afternoon storms instead of all day. And then we'll break out of this and get into a quieter setup for that following weekend. All right. Are you going to tell us about how you're going to interact for Bun After Dark? Not yet. I will let you know. There's a few little things I have planned, but I will explain the Roby rules about how we're going to do this for tomorrow night. And again, I don't know the exact time, but I will keep you updated. Just look for the notification. I assure you, you'll know when you see it. Fair enough. Street Raw Nationals. Is that this weekend? Or next weekend? Jeffrey? Is Saturday an all-day rain? No. A period of rain that'll be heavy and loud in the morning, then off and on with some sunshine, some gustier storms, maybe strong storms Saturday afternoon. And then there actually will be a break for a while Saturday evening and overnight before we're back to rain again on Sunday. So right now on rain chances, it could go to 100% Saturday morning, down to about 60% in the afternoon Saturday, and maybe 30% Saturday night. On paper, that's the way it's looking right now. It's next weekend. Okay. So next weekend, yes, would be quiet, just hot. So there you go. Time to make up for it for some of the car shows that could get impacted there on Saturday. All right, guys, I got a jet. Thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all as always. I will see you guys coming up on, is it midday? Yeah, midday, coming up at 11 a.m. See you soon.